Lena Moore was just the night janitor. But when the world went to sleep, she came alive. Every night, alone on the 37th floor, she danced like the city lights were her audience and the stars her spotlight. Her mop became a microphone. Her worn sneakers flew across marble floors. And in those stolen moments, she wasn't cleaning, she was free. She danced because she had to, because it was the one thing that still made her feel alive. What she didn't know was that someone was watching, not just anyone, a billionaire CEO. And what started as a girl chasing rhythm in the dark was about to become the kind of story people only see in movies, except this time, it was real. Before we dive into the story, let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Every night as the city slept, Lena came alive. She slipped out the back door of Northwell Tower, the tallest, busiest building in Chicago, dressed in dark blue coveralls, worn sneakers, and with her frizzy curls tied up. Lena blended into the night. To most people, she was invisible. But Lena had a secret. When no one was watching, she danced. Not for an audience, not for fame, just for herself. The 37th floor was always her last stop. By then, the offices were empty, the executives long gone, and the cleaning supervisor wouldn't arrive for another hour. The sleek marble floors and panoramic windows turned into her private stage. She'd slip off her shoes, press play on her old Bluetooth speaker, and let the silence fill with rhythm. Her mop became a microphone. Her body moved like it remembered something the world had forgotten. She twirled, as if the stars outside were clapping just for her. It wasn't ballet. It wasn't hip-hop. It was something deeper, like her soul was speaking in motion. For those few minutes each night, Lena wasn't tired or alone. She wasn't a janitor. She was free. What she didn't know was that someone had noticed. Across the street from a neighboring tower, someone watched. And he wasn't just anyone. He was Cole Wynn, billionaire CEO of Wynn Technologies. Cole had built an empire before turning 30. While others were drowning in debt and deadlines, he was changing the world with lines of code. But for all his genius, Cole lived like a machine, cold, calculated and completely alone. One night, reviewing a merger proposal, he glanced out his window. Then he saw her. She moved like she was dancing with shadows. No spotlight, no stage. Just her, the night, and the music only she could hear. Cole lowered his phone. He leaned closer. Who was this woman, dancing alone at 2 a.m., with her heart on fire? He told himself it was curiosity. But something had cracked open. He was drawn to her freedom, her rawness. For the first time in years, Cole Wynn was distracted. Not by stocks or strategies, but by a girl who didn't even know he existed. Night after night, Lena danced. And night after night, Cole watched. He cancelled late meetings. He sat alone in the dark, waiting. Sometimes her movements were explosive, full of energy. Other times, they were slow and aching, like she was dancing the pain right out of her body. Once he saw her wipe her eyes before she began. That night, her dance burned brighter than ever. Cole needed to know her. He called his assistant. Find out who cleans the Garrison building, the 37th floor. Jackson, puzzled but loyal, returned a week later with a file. Lena Moore, 25 years old, no criminal record, lives in a small Queens apartment, works 2 jobs, attended dance school for 1 semester, then dropped out. Her name echoed in Cole's mind like a melody he hadn't realized he knew by heart. He couldn't shake her from his thoughts, not because he wanted to interfere, but because he had to see her again. He discovered her agency served clients across Chicago. With a few quiet calls, he made arrangements. By month's end, Lena was reassigned to clean the 36th floor of Pearson Tower, home to Wynn Technologies, his floor. Lena didn't think much of the move. The agency called it a promotion. Higher profile client, better pay. She was nervous, but needed every dollar. So she said yes. Her first night, the 36th floor intimidated her. All glass and steel, hair that smelled like money. She stepped into the executive suite and froze. Cole was there. He looked up from a file. Their eyes met. She looked away and began to clean, heart pounding. He watched. Up close, she was even more captivating. Not because of how she looked, but because of how she moved. Long night? He asked softly. Lena hesitated. Always is. Do you always work this late? Night shifts are quieter, she replied. Less mess. Fewer people. He nodded, saying no more. He didn't want to scare her. When she left, Lena leaned against the elevator wall, hands trembling. Who was that man? That night she didn't dance. But the next evening, she found a small black box in her cart. Inside, wireless earbuds, a mini speaker, and a note. For the girl who turns silence into music. Don't stop dancing. She looked around, unsure. Was it a joke? But the note felt sincere. Eventually, she put the earbuds in, hit play, and danced. Carefully, slowly, like always. And across the glass, Cole watched. Quiet, still. Her dance, seen through silence, was the most beautiful thing he'd ever witnessed. But they weren't alone. Tessa, a junior employee with a crush on Cole, had noticed his late nights. One evening she followed his gaze and saw Lena. She filmed a 30-second clip of her dancing and posted it. Online with a cruel caption, "Cleaning girl tries to seduce CEO with her moves." By morning it had gone viral. Lena walked into work as usual, until she saw the stares, the whispers. The video, her heart sank. What once brought her joy had become a joke. She ran to the bathroom, hands shaking. The one thing that made her feel alive had been turned into a reason to feel shame. When Cole found out, he was furious. "Take it down," he told Legal, "now." But the damage was done. That night, Lena avoided the top floor. She cleaned in silence. Head down. Then her supervisor approached. "You've been requested," he said. "Executive Suite, Mr. Wynn's office." Her heart skipped. "Me by name." That's what it says. She stepped inside. Cole stood by the window. "You stopped dancing," he said without turning. "It felt unsafe," she whispered. "Like someone was watching me." "I was," he said, turning. "It was me." Lena froze. "Why?" "Because you were free. And I hadn't seen anything that real in years." He stepped closer. "I left the earbuds, the note. I brought you here because I wanted to know you, not control you." She looked down. "You're the CEO. I'm a cleaner. You're the most honest person I've ever seen." Lena froze, her heart racing. She didn't know whether to run or stay. Days passed. Lena stopped going to the top floor. She stayed quiet, tucked herself away in the lower levels, hoping to disappear. But Cole couldn't take the silence. He missed the music. Missed her. Her quiet fire. Her light. One evening he found her in a dim hallway near the basement, sitting on the floor beside her mop cart. Her knees were pulled to her chest. Her eyes were red. He approached slowly. "I'm sorry," he said gently. Lena looked up at him, tired and guarded. "Why did you notice me?" she asked softly. "Why me? There are women in your world who would give anything to be in my place." Cole didn't answer right away. He knelt down beside her, so they were eye to eye. "Because you reminded me what it means to feel alive," he said. "The first time I saw you dancing, you weren't trying to impress anyone. You weren't chasing anything. You were just free." He paused, his voice softer now. "I've had everything people think matters, money, power, success, but none of it ever made me feel anything. I was cold, numb, distant, but the night I saw you, something shifted. You showed me that happiness isn't about having everything. It's about being true to who you are." Lena looked away, her throat tight. "I didn't fall for what you do," Cole whispered. "I fell for who you are." 2 weeks later, Cole took Lena on a surprise trip across the city. They stopped in front of an old dance studio. The windows were boarded up, the paint faded, but Lena's eyes lit up the moment she saw it. "This was my old studio," she whispered. "I used to train here, back when I thought I could make it as a dancer. But dancing couldn't pay the bills. I had to find a real job." Cole pulled a set of keys from his coat pocket. "It's yours now." Lena blinked. "What?" "I bought it. Renovated it. You can teach here, dance again, help other kids find their rhythm." Her hands flew to her face, overwhelmed. "You did this for me?" He nodded. No one should have to give up their dreams just to survive. Tears welled in her eyes as she stepped inside. The air was dusty but familiar. She turned in a slow circle, imagining the mirrors, the music, the laughter. For the first time in years, she felt like she could breathe again. A few weeks later, Lena reopened the studio as Rise Dance Center. Her verse class was free, open to any kid who couldn't afford lessons. She expected 5 students. 30 showed up. Some wore sneakers, some danced in socks. One little girl wore a tutu over jeans. It didn't matter. They danced. They laughed. They lived. Lena's heart soared. Cole visited often, but he never interrupted. He sat quietly in the back with his laptop open, eyes always on her, watching her do what she loved. After class, Lena would sit on the studio steps, shoes in hand, hair damp with sweat, joy glowing on her face. "This is what I was meant to do," she told him one evening. "And I was meant to help you get there," he replied. Their hands found each other's in the fading light of the day. For the first time in their lives, neither of them felt alone. Months later, Cole took Lena back to the 36th floor, the place where it all began. The office was empty, quiet, clean. He turned off the lights, letting the city glow through the windows. Soft music played from the speakers. "Dance with me," he asked. Lena smiled. "Always." Barefoot, they moved slowly. Her head rested against his chest. Their steps were small and gentle, but steady. Then Cole paused. He dropped to one knee and pulled out a small velvet box. "Lena Moore, you walked into my life and showed me beauty where I only saw pressure. Will you marry me?" Tears filled her eyes. "Yes," she whispered. 1,000 times yes. And as they kissed beneath the city lights, the room didn't feel like glass and steel anymore. It felt like home. The end. If you enjoyed this story, tap like and subscribe for more heartwarming tales.